Hey, what's up? In this video, I'm going to show you 7 lead guitar techniques for beginners. These techniques are going to be easy ways for you to spice up your guitar playing so that everything you play isn't so plain Jane. Oftentimes, it's not what you say, but how you say it. So we're going to go over 7 different techniques, and I'm going to talk to you like you're a beginner because there's intermediate and more advanced ways of doing these techniques, but I'm going to make it nice and simple so you can learn these and put them to use. All right, let's get started. All right, so before we get started, I'm going to write up a scale here, just a simple scale so you can see a reference of what notes I'm choosing as we apply the techniques. So I'm going to write up a pentatonic scale, and if you don't know how to read a scale diagram, I believe we have a video on that. Very simple. This is the strings on your guitar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm actually going to be playing on the 9th fret right there. Cool. So we're not going to be playing all these notes. I'm actually going to stay pretty much right here in the middle, such as right there. And that way, when you play this up, we can be doing it with the same notes, but if you want to, you're going to be able to apply this to whatever you want, okay? All right, so the first technique we're going to go over is called tremolo picking. This is super easy. It's used a lot, and I believe I spelled that right. And all we're gonna do is pick up and down really fast. So if I have this scale right here, and let's say I'm only gonna do these middle ones, that's it. So this technique's in your picking hand. That's it. So to do this one, you're gonna need a thicker guitar pick. If you use those little flimsy, thin ones that bend, you're gonna have a hard time playing fast. And I won't cover playing fast in this video, but when they bend, you're gonna have a hard time doing stuff like this. Okay? So that's it. Tremolo picking. Next, we're gonna do, it's called a slide. A slide. So, and I didn't mention this, but we're on the, I did. We're on the 9th fret, 9, 11, 9, 11, there you go. So, if that's the target, let's say this is our target note, which would be the 3rd string, 9th fret. Let's say I play this one down here and go like this. Go and try that. So what you're gonna do is you play, it doesn't matter where you play, but you're gonna, as you play, you're going to keep squeezing so you don't lose the string from ringing out. You don't have to squeeze it so hard your finger hurts and you rip up your finger on the frets, but you need to squeeze hard enough that you don't go and you lose it. Does that make sense? There you have it. Now you can slide up or just slide down. Does that make sense? So that one's called a slide, and when you see it written in music, it'll oftentimes be indicated by like just a slash like that. So if I went to another page here, and let's say we went like this to the 9, that's what that would mean. So what I just played right there, slide up, da, da. And then what if I went the other way? See the different angles of that little slash? Does it matter what note or what finger you use to slide? Yes and no, it depends what you're doing. For right now, let's just slide with one finger, but at the end of the day, I'd like you to work at sliding with all of them. Maybe not your pinky. I wouldn't work on that one yet as a beginner. All right, so there is a slide. And yes, there are many different ways of doing slides. I'm giving you the simple, easy ones. Just remember, you need to squeeze hard enough so the note keeps ringing out, but not so hard that your finger hurts, right? And you rip up your finger. I should also note, as you slide, do you see how my thumb is sliding with us? It's not sliding here, and then you're leaving your thumb out over there. So we're sliding. All right, the next one is called a hammer-on. Hammer on, and just like the name implies, you're going to hammer on the string. So think of it like Thor's hammer. You're going to play a note, and then you're going to slam your finger in so hard, just like Thor's hammer, and it causes the strings to vibrate. Right? You're slamming in way harder than you would normally play. And the way that's indicated in music, it would be like this. I'll go back over here and say 9, and it's got a little arc to the 11. Sometimes you'll even see it with an H above it, indicating Hammeron. No left hand. Does that make sense? That's it. And at the end of this video, we're gonna put these together and try and make some music. But I'm just giving you all these right now, so you know what's going on, and you're gonna need to practice them, play around, obviously, and get them under your fingers. Next, if we did it backwards, let's try it like this. Boom. This would be indicated by a P. This is the next technique. Coming over here, number 4, and this is called a pull off. And just like the name implies, we're gonna pull off the string so fast it causes the note to sound. Now here's the trick to this one. Obviously, if you're pulling off to this note, your finger has to already be there. But the trick is you need to be squeezing hard enough so that it's almost like the skin wraps around the string, so when you quickly lift off, that causes it to sound. If you're not squeezing very hard, I mean, I do have distortion on, so it does kind of help, but all right, you need to whip off and squeeze a little bit harder. You can also this is very subtle, but you can't really see it. There's a little snag in there where it's almost like you kind of pulled down barely, but do you see me doing that? No. It's a very subtle snag on it. But if you're doing like a hammer-on pull-off, which is when you essentially put these together like this, if I was going 9, 11, 9, 11, all like this, and sometimes you'd see HP on there, hammer-on pull-off, that's what this would be. And this one, because your finger's slamming in so hard, that's what's wrapping around the string, so then when you lift off really quick, it's causing it to play. But if you're not doing a hammer-on pull-off, that's when you'd maybe do like a little slide on there. Did I say slide? I meant to say a little like, little snag, that's what I meant. All right, so moving on. We did pull off. And the other cool things, as you do this, what's going to happen is, yes, this is going to do wonders for your coordination, your creativity, even your ear. So when you listen to your favorite songs or solos, you would then perhaps start to hear that, oh, he's doing a slide right there. And you can then learn from it. So instead of it being like, oh, that sounds cool, it's like, oh, I know what that is. And you can appreciate it more or use it for your own playing. All right, next we have a bend. So the bends, there's a lot of different types of bends. I'm giving you the easy ones, but when it comes to bending, you're gonna bend the string. That's quite literally what it means. You pick, stretch it up. You can go down or up. And the secret to bends is it's actually not in your fingers. You're gonna be, it's like this motion. You're gonna be using this. Even though you see it and maybe you're like, oh, he's using his fingers. That's probably like the 80-20 rule. Most of it is coming from in here. Okay? Now you can also see that if I'm playing the 3rd string 11, that I have multiple fingers on the string to help give me strength to stretch it up. And then my thumb, I'm in what I call blues position, where the thumb comes over top, and it's helping me just go dirt, right, dirt. It doesn't matter if you go up or down. It's going to sound the same. The only time it matters if you go up or down, I should say, well, first off, you would never go down, bend it down if you're on the first string. Should be obvious, but you go off the fretboard. I'm going to say the rule is that coming here to the whiteboard, strings 1 and 2, you're going to bend this way, up, even though that's going down, but it's up on the guitar. And strings 5 and 6, you're bending that way, which is down. Okay? So just so we're clear. Up. Down. Does that make sense? Pulling it down or going up. But then the middle two strings, strings 3 and 4, this one, it depends on what's going on in the music. So what's going on before and after. Right now, just play around with it. Do whatever. As we learn more together, or even as you progress as a musician, you'll start to see how and why that you would go that way. Okay? So that's the bend. Just remember, multiple fingers, and I gave you the directions, and that's what I want you to do. And try to use this muscle. And the next one is kind of similar, and you probably just saw me do it just a little bit, where I did what's called a vibrato. And actually, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let me jump back over here. So if I did what I did the 11 and I bent like this, went up, it'll always go up in the music. That doesn't indicate whether you're supposed to bend it up or down. It just says you're bending it. That's the symbol. So it's not like sometimes it goes like that. That's not going to ever happen. Now, sometimes you'll see what's called a half-step bend, or it might say 1 or full, or sometimes you could even see it like this, bend, and then it'll have parentheses like another note right there, and that's just saying bend up to that note. And that's because when you bend, you don't bend to what my mother would call la la land, right? Apparently I was there a lot as a kid. You're bending to a certain note. So if you're on this 11, and let's say we want to make it sound like that note. Did you hear that? So a half step bend is you're going to make it sound like a half step higher, or a half step equals 1 fret. So if you're on the 11, you want to make it sound like the 12. Full step is 2 frets. Okay, so I forgot to mention that a second ago before I moved on to the vibrato, but there you have it. All right, next we have the vibrato, and what this means is you're basically going to bend and release it really fast. And for right now as a beginner, all I want you to do is shake the string. That's it. There's, yes, way more to it than that, but where this is a video for beginners, or people beginning with lead, that's all I want you to think about. But keep in mind, the goal is to shake the string. Sometimes you see players, they do it, and they're like going like this, and they're shaking everything but the string, you know? Or their hands shaking, or their guitar shaking, but the string isn't moving. The purpose, of course, is... Got that? So play around with it, and yes, you saw me still using 2 fingers. As your fingers get stronger, maybe you do 1. I wouldn't worry about vibratos and bends on the pinky for obvious reasons. All right, and I believe we are at the last one, and this one is called a double stop. So a double stop is a fun way, or I should say it's a funny way of saying you're playing 2 notes at the same time. It's a 2-note chord. All right, so here on my scale diagram, we could really do any 2, but let's say I like to do these 2. I'm going to do those 2 at the same exact time. We're on the 9th fret. Go ahead and try that. Does that make sense? So this, when you play those double stops, it gives your lead guitar playing a bit more oomph, makes it sound a bit more snotty, a bit more aggressive, a bit more tasty. So that's what you're gonna do, and it could be any two notes. You could do these two. You could do, let's say I went those two right there. Kind of cool. There you have it. So he's going to play around with this stuff. So again, we went over, let's backtrack over here. We went over tremolo picking. Slide. Hammeron. Pull off. Bends. Double stop. Vibrato. Sweet, so there you have it. Practice those things in isolation, and then you can even start to combine them, kind of like I was doing. Sliding with tremolo picking. And I'm only playing on those four notes, and well, most of the time. Not when I came up over there. And that's an easy way to make your playing start to come alive versus being plain Jane and only playing the notes. So again, it's not necessarily what you say, but oftentimes it's how you say it. And what's going to happen as a player, you're going to work on this stuff, and you're going to find some that you like more than others, and therefore you're going to practice them more, and that's going to start to give your guitar playing a sense of personality. This is partly why when you hear a famous player, maybe one that you like, you can hear that it's them, and one of the elements would be the way they phrase things. Okay? So I want you to work on this, and the trick is to do this on just a few notes instead of trying to go everywhere. Be creative with just a couple notes. Then when you start learning how to navigate all around the fretboard, you're going to be able to make music and make things sound good wherever you're at versus move all around but everything sounds lame. Okay? All right, so there you have it. Those are 7 easy lead guitar techniques for beginners. And I believe we're probably going to make a version or part 2 to this video where I get to either higher level techniques and or more advanced ways to play these techniques. All right, so there you go. If you have any questions, comments, make sure to comment in the comment section, and definitely subscribe to the channel. Here to help you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.